Hello and welcome back. One of my recent videos that I'll actually link in the description to this video was about NeoPixels, why I don't have one, and why those features don't appeal to me. That video was mostly a preparation for this one, where I wanted to talk about the Crystal Shard 4.5 and what that has to offer people who are still running Tri-cree setups. Now, I'm doing this because a lot of the videos that I saw when I was trying to figure out what the Crystal Shard 4.5 was look at what the Crystal Shard 4.5 does for a NeoPixel. Look at this rain feature that I hated. Look at this unstable feature that I hated. Let's tone down the light so that you can see it better, and I still hated it. But it was all sort of playing up that, look at all these wonderful things that it does for NeoPixel. So I figured I wanted to shoot a video that was about what the Crystal Shard 4.5 does for the rest of us. And that's what this is. So in front of me here today I have a Vader's Vault Tempest that's running a Crystal Shard 3 and a Vader's Vault Vanquish that's running a Crystal Shard 4.5. Now you will see a review sometime real soon of the Vanquish. I have done a review of the Tempest, and I'll go ahead and link that in the description of this video as well. So let's take a look at the 3 real quick. With the Crystal Shard 3, when the saber is off or in sleep mode, you hit the button. Actually, I don't know if this has had enough time to get into sleep mode. I'll find out soon. You hit the button and... oh, no. Okay, I've messed with this recently enough. Usually, when it's in sleep mode, you hit the button and it will load a boot sound, just to let you know that the saber is active. After that point, you can hit the button again and it will ignite the saber, as you saw. Alright, this is running a purple LED through a black unstable ripper blade right now. And the CS3 is actually a pretty dang loud board. It offers flicker, it offers color change, decent motion detection. I actually have the settings down a bit on this one. Flash on clash, all of those things can be set. It holds 6 sound fonts. Let me show you the blaster deflection real quick and the blade lockup. Blaster deflection. Blade lockup. All achieved with that auxiliary button that's on the back. Alright, so that's the Crystal Shard 3, and again, I've reviewed that before. It's a really nice board. What the Crystal Shard 4, or 4.5 rather, has added into the mix are some really interesting features that don't get talked about as much as I feel that they should, because everyone gets lost in the NeoPixel thing. So let me fire up the Vanquish real quick, swing it around a bit so that you can see, activate some of those features, and then I'll turn it off and talk about it. It's very loud, so I won't be able to talk while the saber is on. Okay, you notice I hit that button and it boots. I then have a flashing activation button here that I didn't have in the last one. Alright, so that was a pretty good run-through of it. A couple things that the Crystal Shard 3 didn't do that this one does do. By the way, the Crystal Shard boards are capable of running crossguards, and they do a delayed ignition. You saw that when I lit it up, the main blade lit up, then the side blades lit up. You also noticed there was a different ignition sound for each one. Let me do that one more time real quick. This will hit, then these will hit, and each one will have its own ignition. Alright, so that's a neat feature. Both of these boards had that. Some things that this board had that the other one didn't. You might have noticed that pitch shift. Now, I was confusing that with smooth swing when I got this originally, but what pitch shift is it takes the hum frequency and it lowers and raises it depending on the angle of the saber. So we start with that hum frequency, and then it turns that into sort of noises as you're moving the saber around, which is a really interesting feature. It can be turned off, it can be adjusted, but I really kind of dig that feature. The other things that you noticed about this, it still has the auxiliary button in the back. This is not a red, green, blue saber. This is a single color, so I didn't show you a color shift. If this were a color shifter, instead of on the other one where I would cycle through the colors, I'd be able to enter the color shift, rotate the saber to the desired color, let go, and that's what color it would be. I can do the same with the flash on clash. I can't show you that on this one because it is just red. Running a red day blade and red side blades, so you couldn't see the white flash on clash. I can see it in the lightning, but it doesn't translate to the film very well. That flash on clash and the flash on blaster deflect was still there though. Other things that this thing does that the other one didn't do, it has a force effect sound. Now this was tricky to figure out how to use. This one does not have a force effect sound, but a lot of sabers on the market do. Force effect is designed to be either the force lightning or the force push effect that you do with your hand that isn't holding the saber. So there's a way on the saber usually to key in that effect, that sound effect. On an Ultra Saber Diamond, you would rotate your hand twice while you were doing it. So if you were in staged combat, you could do this, and it would make that force push sound effect. With this one, there is no manual for the CS4, which is really weird. You go to Plexter's website, they only show you the manual for the 3. There's no manual for the 4 or the 4.5, which is bizarre to me. I actually had to look up how to do the force effect after I figured out that it was possible. I had to look up how to do it in the Prism board and assume that the effect was the same, and it is. The force effect is triggered by pushing the activation or the auxiliary button that you would usually push for a blaster deflect or hold down for a blade lockup. You have to push it while moving the saber for a swing at the same time, and this takes a lot of practice and getting used to. But basically, you have to swing the saber and push this at the same time, and you get that force effect sound. All right, so the force effect sound is new. The pitch shift is new. The color change options are new. In terms of, you can see that the LED is still flashing here. The deep sleep on this one is better and less draining on the battery. And it gives you that flash to let you know that the saber is awake, so there's an indicator. Unlike this one, where I wasn't certain if it was going to load the boot up or not, this one I know that if it's flashing and I hit it, it's going on. All right. While it's flashing, I can also cycle through my sound fonts by holding down the aux button on the back. So for that sound font, you noticed that I still had that pitch shift, but I didn't have the double activation because it wasn't built in there, and there was no force effect. The only issue that I have with, let me get back to the Vanquish font because it's more set up for this board. Vanquish. Okay. The only issue that I have with this board is there is a lag on a stab. A lot of boards have a stab sound effect. This one does not seem to. And when you do something that would activate a stab, listen to what happens to the hum. Or push. There's a stall in the hum during that stab effect, and I'm not a real big fan of that. But by and large, all the other features of this board are really nice. I'm very, very fond of it. I liked the CS3 because it was kind of a no-nonsense board. It doesn't have some of the bells and whistles of some of the others, but with the 4 and the 4.5 specifically, it's got some of its own bells and whistles, like that pitch shift, that are just really interesting. One other thing that I wanted to show you about this that was an improvement, in the 3, it had a mute feature. I could hold both buttons during the activation, hold down on the aux, and then hit the activation. There was the boot. And I ended up with a mute. Okay, so I use the mute feature quite a bit. The problem with the 3 is when you have it in mute and then you turn it off, it always plays that power down, which kind of defeats the purpose of a mute. All right, the 4.5, if I were to mute this, I still get the delayed ignition. I still get all the flicker. I still get all the flash on clash effects. I can still trigger the flash with the aux button, but no sound. And when I do power it down, I have a mute power down, which I really like as well as a definite improvement. So this is the 4.5 and what it has to offer those of us using Tri-cree. If this review has been of use to you, please join me back next time when I will be looking at this Vanquish hilt. And I'll see you then.